Joining us now is our new athletic director, Jennifer Strawley, sitting down with our sports director, Mason Willett.
Thank you, Rachel and Fiona. And this is a conversation I've been waiting a long time to get. Thank you so much for joining us, Jen.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
I just want to start off by asking you, just start by telling us a little bit about yourself.
So sports has been a part of my life, really my entire life, and I had the fortune of playing softball in college. And so really it was that experience and beginning to understand the impact that college athletics can have on the development of young people that kind of fueled for me the desire to want to create that experience for others. And so I had the fortune of spending about 11 years at the NCAA, so kind of got a national perspective and national policy in that time. Began to form a network and understand kind of how college athletics works, but then transitioned to a college campus. And I spent some time at Columbia University in New York City, and I spent the last 11 years at the University of Miami in Coral Gables, and then really excited to be here and to be able to build on the tremendous foundation of ELN athletics and chart a path for us to move forward as well.
Awesome. And just going from Miami to ELN, what has that journey kind of been like for you?
I've been here about a month now, and so transitioning, getting settled. The heat's been kind of similar to what you see in Miami here in August, but just excited to get into this community, both the university community and the greater Elon and Burlington community. The people have been so welcoming. It's really been amazing to kind of come in and see what a special place Elon is and to become a part of that community.
And then what would you say was kind of the big reason you decided to come to Elon?
I figured out pretty early on in the interview process just what a unique and incredibly special place Elon was, and probably a lot of the reasons many of you students decided to choose Elon was what drew me here too. It's a very values-driven, student-centric, student success place where you're talking about mentoring and developing young people. But couple that with the Bold Elon strategic plan and the ability to think strategic and to be bold and innovative in how you want to progress and do things. I think it was that combination, and then couple that with the people that really drew me to this opportunity and the ability to take a strong foundation that's been set both across the university and in athletics and be able to build on that into the future to create future success for our athletics program and ultimately for our institution as a whole.
And then as you said, with that strong foundation, our previous AD was here for 17 years. What do you kind of see yourself doing differently compared to what he did and kind of build off of what he did?
So clearly, Dave did a fantastic job setting a great foundation, and there's been tremendous success across the athletics program. On the academic front, we continue to set the standard for academic success in the CAA. And then there's been a lot of competitive success. The facilities are really fantastic, and so there's a tremendous foundation there. So I think there's a lot of listening and learning for me, beginning to really understand the ethos of Elon, understand the students, understand the alum, understand the campus community as a whole, and then take that to be able to set a vision of what do we as a campus community want athletics to be, and then how does athletics fit into that piece and help grow the institution at large and really set that vision for who we want to be across the board athletically.
Awesome. And then just for that vision, have you kind of considered some ideas for that? I know Elon likes to have this 10-year plan. Do you have something like that in mind?
So ultimately, the vision I do want to seek input, so I think it's really important that we have broad input into that piece, but I think Boldly Elon sets a great foundation for that. And if you look at the 4 themes across Boldly Elon, I think athletics ties very nicely into that. So it really becomes a tentacle of that and kind of just setting the North Star for the athletic department to kind of feel their vision as it relates directly back to Boldly Elon, and then also giving the greater community at large and the campus community input into what we all want athletics to be and how athletics can help grow both our institutional brand, our engagement around the institution, bring alumni back, fill the Schar Center so we create great energy around what we're doing, which also enhances the experience for everyone.
And you just said about getting the fan engagement back up. I know over the years, fans haven't been getting out to games as much as we would want to see. Do you have a plan for that exactly?
So I think it starts a little bit with some grassroots pieces and some connection, and how do we, I'm going to challenge students. How do we challenge students to want to be a part of what we're doing at football games, at men's and women's basketball games, soccer? And I think it starts a lot with the first year experience and how you connect with freshmen to want to be engaged in what we're doing around athletics, and then that builds over the course of their time. And so I think it's setting a plan for how we begin that engagement. There was an awesome tailgate for a freshman during orientation, come out to a soccer game where we had food trucks and different other pieces. That was a partnership with campus to pull that off through athletics, and I think that's a first step. And then how do we build those pieces that want students to be engaged, and then through that also engage the community and understand that obviously having fans in the stands is important for student athletes, but I think it's also an important piece of community engagement and what we can do to create excitement in the community as well.
And then ever since coming here, I believe you started August 1st, have you noticed anything that might have been different from what you were expecting?
I think different might not be the right word, but I knew the people were great, but I didn't realize how welcoming the community would really be. And just to be a part of such a special community is really just something that I'm incredibly excited about. And so I don't know that it was different than what I expected, but maybe it was more than I expected. I've been incredibly moved by and humbled by how wonderful everyone's been in the transition, and to be a part of it and just wanting to engage and welcome me and my wife to the community. So that part's been exciting.
Awesome. And then obviously not a great weekend for ELN athletics. I believe all 5 teams lost, or 4 or 5 teams lost. What would you say about the competition level of the teams that we play? And then what would you say about getting ELN's competitiveness higher?
It's never good to come on after you had a weekend where you didn't win a game, I guess. But I think it's about building, and it's about scheduling to prepare teams to be successful at later parts in the season. And so, I think using football as an example, first half may not have gone exactly the way we wanted it to, but I think you saw the resilience in the second half, and you saw actually we won the second half, and then you build off that for next weekend as we go into Gardner-Webb. The 2 soccers, I think, both coming off of good seasons last year. Women's soccer's pretty young. I think men's soccer has some high expectations. And how do we learn from those losses along the way? One of the great things about athletics is it teaches you resilience, and it teaches you how to overcome some of that. So equally important in the process is how you respond to failure and how you respond to a loss, and how coaches teach through that experience to help young people grow. And so no one ever wants to lose. You don't get into athletics, you're not a competitor to lose, but I think there's lots of values in that we can take and build for the rest of the season.
And then going off of that, realignment's been a big question of concern for a lot of teams, a lot of conferences. Do you have kind of an idea of what you want to see ELN be one day?
Conference realignment, I don't know that anyone predicted 10 years ago would look as it looks today. I think there's still a lot of unknown in exactly how all of it plays out and how we find the right home for everybody. So I think the best thing we can do here at ELN is position ourselves for success, to understand what we want athletics to be, to stay true to our values, and to really, I go back to the Boldly ELN plan, to allow ourselves to think outside the box, to set that course of what that could look like. I'm not going to sit here today and say I know what the future holds exactly, but I think alignment with institutions that have similar values and that positions us for competitive success is the secret for us as we move forward.
And then as ELN, we have our own values, but what are your exact values? What do you want to see?
I'd start, first and foremost, I'm a person that thinks integrity needs to be at the core of everything we do. I think, teamwork is a really important, especially in athletics, but I think in any situation that you're going to be in, the ability to be a good teammate, to be somebody who supports each other along the way and wants to make the collective better is always something that's really important. I'm also someone that likes to strive for excellence, so I challenge our student athletes. I said this to our staff, I'm not excellent 365 days a year, but if you come to work every day, or you come to your classes every day and you strive for that excellence, you're creating a culture of excellence that I think sets an expectation as you move forward. And then I'd also add humility to that. I think the ability to understand your role and to be supportive of others and really have humility in how you approach life is an important value as we move forward.
Well, awesome. And then we already talked about this before, but Title IX seems to be very important to you, equal opportunities for athletes. What would you say about that?
So I'm a product of the student-athlete experience, and I remember, I'm not that young anymore, and I remember kind of the first examples of really seeing female athletes and understanding what it means to see people who look like you achieving a level of success. And so I think Title IX for me is about access, and it's about providing young people the opportunity to chase their dreams, and that that's great for boys and it's great for girls. And so if we can create those opportunities that allow young people to be whatever they want to be, or to chase that dream that they believe is possible, to see themselves, whether that's participating in athletics or, sitting here doing an interview or, being the next president of the United States, if it's whatever that is, if we can create those opportunities equitably to allow young people to again, be whatever they want to be in life, I think that's what it's about. And for me, that was through sport. And so that's really how I see Title IX, is just the opportunity for young girls and young boys to be able to do what they love and to find opportunities through it and gain, higher education and experiences and life lessons through that.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Jen, for joining us on the show today, and I'll give it back to Fiona and Rachel.